All right, let's go straight to the phone lines. Bit of a gear change here, Danny. Bit of a gear change.
Yes, but I'm excited about it.
You're excited. Explain why you're excited about it.
Well, you've given me a gift today because it's not my birthday, but it is my birthday soon.
It's not your birthday, but it is your birthday.
Yeah, it's not my birthday, but it is my birthday. So you've given me a small, about 2-inch replica of Thor's hammer, Mjölnir.
Made out of pewter, so it's expensive.
Well, no, it's not. It's made out of bronze.
Well, pewter bronze. And we want to know a bit more about it.
Yeah, we need to learn more about this ancient relic you've given me.
And as always, our listeners have come up with the gold. Good morning to you, Stephen Knight.
Hello. It's pronounced Mjölnir.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Mjölnir.
Mjölnir.
Now, Stephen, you were listening to Danny absolutely making a hash of pronouncing that, and you couldn't hold. Well, you couldn't hold back. You had to get in touch.
It was angry, Stephen. Was angry.
And apparently, there's a lot more to this than just Thor and Marvel. Is that right?
Yes, well, Marvel have taken the Norse mythology and they've tweaked it and kind of made it their own. So there's lots of things in the Marvel universe of Asgard and the Norse gods that are quite based and quite similar to the Norse myths, but there's also quite a few deviations where they've kind of had their own artistic license.
Like the robots.
Yeah, I don't think they had robots in the 9th century.
Okay.
Idiot.
But if they could have had robots, I'm sure they would have done.
Yeah, exactly. And you are very knowledgeable about this.
Well, Andy's version of Mjölnir that he's given me is only 2 inches tall, and it says "Made in China" on it. But that's not what happened with the real one. What's the story behind the real one? Because I'm not actually sure. I say the real one like it's a real thing.
The origin, the creation of Mjölnir is direct responsibility of Loki. And so if you're into the Marvel, then you'll know Loki. He's a complex character. He's kind of that friend that always comes up trumps, but always drops you right in it. Yeah.
That's Andy down.
He's responsible for all of the triumphs of the gods, pretty much. Well, not all of them, but also all of the worst misgivings.
Hello.
So if Andy was a Norse god, he'd be Loki.
But yeah, he's big trouble. And so he just can't help himself.
Okay.
So one day Thor woke up, and Thor had a beautiful wife called Sif, and she had the most beautiful hair. Only this day when Thor woke up, the hair was completely gone, which Thor was quite upset about because he liked his wife's beautiful hair.
Superficial.
And so he knew yeah, well, he was a man's man. He was a proper lad. Thor. He knew what he liked.
Okay.
And he knew exactly where to go to, so we went to Loki and proceeded to throttle him and threaten to break every single bone in his body if he didn't give the hair back.
Okay.
Yikes.
So he's a lad's lad. He's direct. Doesn't mess around. So Loki said he couldn't, but promised that he would sort it out. He would solve this problem.
I'll see what I can do, said Loki.
Yeah. So he went to the dwarves, and the dwarves are the famous craftspeople of the universe there, and they live in a world called Svartalheim. And if you've ever played in Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons type things, the Svarts are dwarf type creatures. So that's also inspired by Norse mythology. He went to the Sons of Ivaldi and said, "I'm going to have a competition to see who can make the best gifts for the gods." Obviously, great prestige will befall those. And so he said, "What I need is a series of gifts, but one of them must be a set of beautiful golden hair." And left them at that. And then he went to another family of dwarves called Brock and Sindri, and Brock means metalworker and Sindri means spark sprayer.
Yes.
And said, "We're having this competition with the gods who can make the best gifts. But I've challenged the Sons of Ivaldi, and they reckon they can make better gifts than you can." Sort of really setting off that pride thing. And they seemed very unimpressed. And they said, "Okay, we can do better than that, but I want something in return." And Loki said, "What's that?" "I want your head, Loki."
Ooh.
And he went,
Nice. Danny Dyer.
Okay, Yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
What do you mean?
What? Well, that's a hard bargain, Loki. Come on, mate.
I was thinking of a signed picture. You know what I mean? Two tickets to Mother Goose. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to remember that Loki he's a trickster. That's his game. He makes moves and counter moves and then counter moves. He's also a shapeshifter, so he can change into all sorts of forms. And so he disappears, and they start making things. The Sons of Ivaldi make Skid Vladnir, which means assembled from thin pieces of wood, and it's the best of all ships. It can fold up into a small piece and can go into your pocket, and it will always find a favourable wind.
Right.
They also made Gungnir, which is a spear, and if you throw it, it will never miss. And they made, obviously, Sif's hair. However, Brock and Sindri, they started working the bellows. Brock was hammering away and Sindri was pumping the bellows. While they were doing this, Loki turned himself into a fly and he tried to distract Sindri from pumping the bellows.
Steve, I'm going to interject, right? First of all, this is like longer than Lord of the Rings, right? All I know is they got to the hammer. You know what I mean? I'm already confused. In 30 seconds, wrap this up for me, Stephen, because I'm off air at 10.
I will do my best. So he then starts to try and distract Sindri. Sindri makes no budge. He's very dedicated, and they're starting to make these gifts. And eventually, he takes one last lunge and just takes a huge chunk out of Sindri, which makes him flinch, and it makes him just skip a beat on the bellows, which meant that the hammer, the handle of Mjölnir, which the Brocker was working on, came out a little bit short, which he was upset about. However, Mjölnir, which means lightning, was the most favoured gift of the gods. And Loki was upset about this because he said, but Sif's hair. But Thor had got a new toy that he was really impressed with, so he didn't worry about Sif anymore.
Wow.
So he put him through all that to get some new hair, and you give him a hammer.
And he's completely forgotten about his wife's hair. Wow.
Classic
It
lad.
looked like Loki was about to lose his head, and then tried to do the whole Merchant of Venice thing, although that came afterwards, and said, actually, I didn't promise that you could spill it in my blood, so you can't do that.
Technicality, but okay.
The compromise was that Thor held on to Loki, while the sons Brock and Sindri then sewed Loki's lying mouth shut.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
Sometimes Loki's depicted with having holes around his lips.
and you see, and the thing is, right, Stephen's a teacher. He knows his field. He's educated. He knows his stuff. He's very knowledgeable, which begs the question, why do you listen to us, Stephen?
Just the pure entertainment of your witty banter.
Beautifully said, Stephen. Thank you so much, my friend. That's absolutely... Are you, but Stephen, just before I let you go, are you doing lessons online?
So, my wife and I run a business where we go into schools and we do immersive experience days. So we take angles from history and toy making and dance and science, and we try and make them sort of fun and engaging to really hook the children into a topic. So obviously with the school closures, we aren't able to do that. So what we've been working on is to try and do some DIY days, and we're working on the DIY Roman Day at the moment.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
that's in the process of going up on our website, and that'll be up in a couple of days.
Well, let us know when you've got it up and running, and we'll definitely give it a plug. Thank you so much, Stephen. Really, really. See, you learn something every day. You learn something, and you have a little bit of a laugh sometimes.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Make a difference.